Tom, go! He's flying towards his ass. He wants to get in there with that ball. Oh no, another murder. Oh, everyone's dying. Crying. There are 5 people. One of them shot and killed one of the other 5. So there are no longer 5 people. Was that hand a clue? He's wearing gloves or something. Let's look at that hand. Look at the hand. It's a male. White male. White shirt. There it is. Was there anyone who looked like that? Ignore all that garbage. Show me the suspects. Him! Shirt man! He's hiding his hands. Look! His white shirt. He's white. It's him. Now, yours is too blue. Yours is too blue. Blue, it's the coat man. The guy in the suit. Dan ran in the New York City Marathon yesterday with one of the innocent men. Mike considered being a farmer before he moved to the city. Jeff is top-notch computer consultant, wants to install Ben's new computer next week. The murderer had his leg amputated last month. Oh, he's got a leg. But you can't see his legs. One of them might be a peg leg. So, ooh, look at his shadow. He's even got an evil-looking shadow. Look, where is he gone? There, look at it. Look at that shadow. It's morphing into evil. Look at the evil bastard. It's him. Ben met Jack first time 6 months ago. Jack had been in seclusion since the crime. Dan used to drink heavily. Ben and Jeff built their last computer together. The murderer is Jack's brother. They grew up together in Seattle. Who the fuck is Jack? Jack has been in seclusion. In other words, it's not Jack. Cross off Jack. So we've got Dan, Mike. Where is that bloody thing? Right. Dan, Mike. Mike, Jeff, Jack, Ben. Cross off Jack, X. Jack is no longer murderer, so it's between. Get rid of him. Fuck off, Jack. So Jeff, Ben, Mike, or Dan. Dan ran in the New York City Marathon yesterday with one of the innocent men. In other words, it's not Jack because the other guy doesn't have a leg. Or it's not Dan. So it's unlikely to be Dan or the innocent guy. Mike considered being a farmer. Maybe he lost his leg. He lost his leg in his tractor. Jeff, top-notch computer consultant, wants to install Ben's new computer next week. Isn't one of these people dead? There's 5 people and one of them's dead. Who is dead? Look, it says 5 people. One of them shot and killed one of the other 5. So we've got 5 people here. One of them's dead. So Jack might be dead. For fuck knows who knows what. Yeah, Jack might be dead. But then he's been in seclusion since the crime. In other words, he's still alive. Ben and Jeff built their last computers together. So one of them's dead. Well, they're both dead. Maybe. So someone's dead. Ben met Jack for the first time 6 months ago. It's not Ben, because he's not his brother. So it's between Dan, Mike, and Jeff. One of them is innocent, one of them's dead, and one of them's the murderer. So... But Ben might be dead, actually. Yeah, maybe Ben's dead. So one of these is the murderer, but maybe they're all alive and Ben's dead. So we don't care who's dead. We just want to find out who the murderer is. It can't be. It's unlikely to be Dan because he ran in a fucking marathon. Although I think people without legs do that too, so it could be Dan. But it's most likely Mike or Jeff. Jeff is top-notch computer consultant, wants to install Ben's new computer. So maybe Jeff killed Ben. But Mike wanted to be a farmer, so he probably lost his leg. So I guess it's Mike. There's not much said about Mike, is there? Or Jeff. Not much to say about Mike or Jeff. Anything else? I say it's Mike. He lost his leg in the tractor. Mr. Top-notch computer consultant probably doesn't need his leg amputated. Unless it's from sitting down so much he never used his legs and he had to get them chopped off. I say Mike, but I can't tell you any evidence for it being Mike. Dan used to drink heavily. Used to. And he ran in a marathon drunk. What do you mean yesterday? What day is this supposed to be? You see, it says Dan ran yesterday. The guy had his leg chopped off last month. Probably a month later you're not going to be running in a marathon, so it's not likely to be Dan. Ben met Jack 6 months ago. Jack has been in seclusion since the crime. When did the crime happen? You didn't tell me that. You just said, I don't know when the fucking crime happened. Today? Yesterday? The murderer is Jack's brother. They grew up together in Seattle. Seattle's a city, I think. And this guy considered being a farmer. Right, so it's probably not him. But is Seattle a farm? Just because you're in a city doesn't mean you can't be a farmer. You can move out of the city. So it's probably Jeff. Because Seattle's not really a farm. I don't know what the fuck Seattle is. I think it's a city, I don't know. Ben and Jeff built their last computers together. I say it's probably what I said. Jeff killed Ben when they were installing the computer. They fucking had a fit over the graphics card or some shit. I'd guess Jeff. Change my guess from Mike. It's Jeff. But let's see. Yay! Oh, he killed Mike. Alright. I thought he killed Ben. Well, it was Jeff. I was right. Sort of. Now it will tell me why. Jack is not the murderer because he is the brother of the murderer. Okay then. Dan can't be the murderer since he ran a marathon, and the murderer recently had his leg amputated and wouldn't be running a marathon of any magnitude that quickly. Yes, I agree in the time span, but he could get a fucking plastic leg, run it in crutches. Wouldn't be, he could do it. Ben is not the murderer if he just met Jack, since Jack and the murderer grew up together. Yes, I got that part. This leaves Jeff and Mike. Yes, I left them too. Since Jeff is still alive, he wants to install a new computer next week. Present tense. He must be the murderer. Mike also didn't grow. He could be Ben who's dead, you fucker. Like I said, it could be Ben who's dead. This leaves Jeff and Mike. He must be the murderer. No! Mike also didn't grow up with Jack. It must have been determined that Jack, Dan and Jeff are all alive. Ben must also be alive since Jeff plans to install Ben's computer next week. Oh. I see. We could install a dead man's computer. Maybe he's just his new brain to fit his body. Alright then, that's fine. Well, I got who the murderer was, but I thought he killed Ben. So, half right on this one. What do the people say? If they knew that the murderer had his leg amputated, why didn't they look for the guy who had his leg amputated? Jack. J and J. They sound alike. Can't be Ben. Blah, blah. Blah, blah. Alright, done. What's this? The answer isn't vague. How do you know if the victim is Dan or Mike? Because Dan ran in a marathon yesterday. But that's the point. It doesn't tell you when the crime actually happened. The crime could have happened today. So if Dan ran in a marathon yesterday, he could have died today. So he might be dead. Because it didn't actually tell you when the murder happened. So it doesn't give you a date for when the murder happened. So yeah, it could be Dan. There's no way you can know whether it's Tell me how it's not Dan. It has been determined that Jack, Dan and Jeff are all alive. Yes, how is Dan alive? How can he commit a murder without a leg? He'd have trouble, wouldn't he? You could say that. How can the guy kill someone who's got no fucking leg? When did the murder happen? See, it's not even telling you when the murder happened. If the murder happened today, Dan could be the dead guy because he ran the marathon yesterday. Jeff's alive because he wants to install the computer next week. Ben's probably alive because... What the fuck is this? Ben and Jeff built their last computers together. So they've already built computers together. They built a previous computer. Well, Ben's probably alive because, yeah, Jeff won't install a dead man's computer. Unless Jeff is the murderer. He's killed Ben. He's somewhat sick and he's installing it for his dead friend because he thinks he's still alive. It says he wants to install Ben's computer next week. But Ben might be dead because Jeff killed Ben when they installed their last computers together. So Jeff killed Ben. He feels bad about it, so he's going to go install a new computer for him. Why not? It doesn't have to make sense. These people aren't rational. They're all sick. Anyway, who was it? Jeff. He can still do his job without his leg. It's too vague. They need to tell you when the murder happened. Whether it was today or yesterday or a month ago or a week ago or whenever. Otherwise Dan could be dead. Since he ran it yesterday and I don't know if the murder happened today. Or when the murder happened. What's he doing running a... How are these people connected anyway? Ben and Jeff know each other. How does Dan know any of these people? Why is it even talking about Dan? How does Mike know any of these people? The murderer is Jack's brother. So Jeff, Ben, and Jack all know each other. But this Mike and Dan guy, how the fuck are they even connected? And why did Jeff bother killing Mike when he probably doesn't even know who he is? It doesn't make a lot of sense, really. Plus the murderer, Jeff, wants to install Ben's new computer next week. He'll have to wheel his way over there with his missing leg. He's the murderer. So Jeff, the murderer, is going to install this guy's computer. Okay. You think it makes sense, but when you think more about it, it doesn't really make any sense. Anyway, I got the murderer right, Jeff. Hooray!